to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Lisa Rafter, CEO and publisher at The Monitor. Thanks for joining me again, Lisa.
You are welcome.
Glad to have you on the program. I want to say there's probably almost like a 12-month anniversary from where I first had you on here a year ago. So we're here to be brought up to speed on the Monitor Suite, and more importantly, what can we expect at the upcoming Converge Conference?
Thank you. It's so great to be here and to have an opportunity to be with you and to share with the industry, like you said, about some of the things we're doing. And for those of you who I don't know and we haven't met yet, as Jesse said, I'm the publisher and CEO of Monitor. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I don't want to give the exact number. It's a lot. It's a lot of years. And I've spent my entire career in equipment finance. Never in a million years when I was, 22 and graduating college here in Philadelphia, and that I think, oh, equipment finance. But a lot of us in the industry say the same thing. And yet, 30+ years later, I couldn't be in a better place. And it's the people, it's the industry, it's fun, it's exciting, it's different. And, here we are, as you said, and with the things I get to do with the Monitor, creating new opportunities because it is, it's a dynamic industry, always something new to address. So some of the things we've been doing that I'm excited about, we started about a year and a half ago, a product we call Monitor Suite. And we did that because with the publication and the news, we're able to cover a lot of, personnel announcements and upcoming events. We can cover mergers, acquisitions, things like that. And that's all with our news. And then our publication, the print, we're able to do a lot of evergreen content. So you notice we do a lot of profiles and we acknowledge next gen, you've been profiled. We acknowledge women, we acknowledge, this company. This year we did best companies for the first time. I call that more evergreen, right? So you put that on the coffee table in your office and it sits there and
Sure.
Great content for a long time.
I have two of those plaques in my office, so exciting
see?
things.
Exactly. And it's really fun for us, and it's an
Yeah.
opportunity to recognize the people in the industry, which is what it's all about anyway. So we know we've got that. We've done, we're good at that. We love doing that. But one of the things we wanted to add to the industry is data and reports and executive insights. And what do those numbers tell us? So we created Monitor Suite as a subscription, like it's like a membership. And in that membership, you get access to all kinds of data that we put together and reports and surveys that we're out there in the industry and out there in the environments that we're in, getting access to that data and then coming back to the industry with here's what we see and here's the analysis of it and here's the report. So we have a bunch of pillars, is what we call them, for Monitor Suite, including data, including reports, surveys. We've already done some documentaries. We did a GE documentary. We did an inflation documentary. So again, we wanted it to be like the ESPN. I'm a big sports fan. The ESPN of equipment finance, where we could do like a Derek Jeter profile on the one hand, but then the next day we're telling you that the latest statistics of MLB. What's going on in baseball, what's going on. So that we wanted to have Monitor Suite be something that people could get access to every day, every week, every month, that gives information other than what they get in our current product line. So we're pretty excited about Monitor Suite.
That's great. I just have to figure out a way if we have to edit in a Philadelphia Philly reference instead of a New York Yankee reference for that. But, sorry.
Well, funny you should say that. I almost wore a Philadelphia Phillies t-shirt. I thought, I had one on last night. I thought, I'm going to wear that. That's for my interview with Jesse.
I don't mind whatsoever.
You love baseball.
That's awesome, Lisa. How's the adoption to the Monitor Suite? Like, how's that been perceived by the marketplace?
Really good. In the beginning, it was more of a video product. So that's what I was saying earlier about podcasts, and we did a whole women's series for women leaders. We did the documentaries. We had something called 3 Minutes. We would talk to people about, people that bake blueberry muffins, or something about interesting, fun, personal aspect of them, and then also something they're passionate about. So we launched those pieces, and then more recently, in the last couple of months, actually, we added all the data and the reports because we wanted Monitor Suite to be not just something nice to have, like finding out about someone who loves blueberry muffins, but also something that people had to have. Like, this is going to help me make better business decisions. So we've been floating out some content over the last few weeks, and we're seeing, oh, okay, yeah, people like this. It's helping them. It's what they need to make decisions. So the adoption's been great. I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. And then you mentioned some of the other initiatives that you guys have been working on, which is great. What are you most excited about, if you don't mind saying?
Yeah, of course. So other than Suite, which we just talked about, of course, Converge. And Converge, as you know, was born out of the event we had last year. So last year we were celebrating Monitor's 50th anniversary, which you can see you may see a frame behind me that says 25. So I
Yeah,
was the editor 25 years ago, and it's amazing that we hit 50. So last year was 50. And we had a really cool event here in Philadelphia to celebrate the 50 years. And we decided, hey, if everyone's going to be making their way here to Philadelphia, why not have an educational component as well? So we created this event that we called Converge. And the idea was truly to have people converge all in one place and start talking. And we wanted it to be a little bit different. So the nature of last year was more of an organic conference, Jesse. So we didn't have sessions that were lined up ahead of time. We didn't have predetermined, seminars or sessions with speakers and panels. We left it open. So what we
interesting.
did, right? And we said, let's get the industry. Who are the smartest people in the room? The attendees. All of them. That's a combined group, right? So we had them all work on what's important to them. What do they want to talk about here for the entire day? So we had this crazy session of post-it notes and flip charts all over the room. And we had people sitting in small groups of 6 and talking. What do you want to talk about today? What matters to you? So my team, we collected all the post-it notes all over the room. Everybody went to a break, and we came back and said, here's what is important to all of you. And we created sessions throughout the rest of the day around those topics. And people came back to us and said, we loved that. It was so real, and on the authenticity of the discussions. And you'd have a leader in our industry for 35 years sitting across from someone in the industry for 5 years, and as authentic as each of them, being authentic about what's going on and what they're trying to confront, what they're dealing with, what's around the corner. So we got such positive feedback about the way and the style that we said, let's do it again. And people said, please do it again. So we're doing it again in May, and here in Philadelphia again. And the design is the same. So we have a keynote speaker. We have a little prop, Peter Henson. He wrote this
Okay.
fantastic book called The Phoenix and the Unicorn. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because we're the phoenixes, our industry. And when I read this book, I said to Peter, it's like you wrote this book for equipment finance, because he believed,
Interesting.
yeah. And he said this book, he said, corporates, comma, this book's for you. That's what he wrote in his opening paragraph. And what's so great about it is he says, there's unicorns out there. We know who they are, the Amazons of the world, the Ubers of the world, right? But then the rest are the phoenixes. And by phoenix, he means what a phoenix is, right? You burn yourself down to the ground and you rebuild yourself. So that's what he's coming to Converge to talk to us about. How do we do that? How do we reinvent ourselves? How do we reinvent our industry? So Peter will kick us off, and then we'll have a panel discussion. Bill Verhelli's leading that discussion with the panelists. We have Mike Jones, we have Kelly Furia, Ellen Camo, Peter Hinson, the author, will also be on that panel. And they'll be talking about what is of interest right now? What is our industry confronting? What are we challenged by? And then once they finish the discussion, we turn it over to the group. Same thing we did last year. And we will give them an app on their phone and an app on their iPad, whatever they use, to start typing away in group sessions. What do they want to talk about for the rest of the day? And then we put those sessions together organically, and they start working and rolling their sleeves up. What we added this year, though, Jesse, is a day 2. And day 2 is a workshop. So
Okay.
everybody will come back together on day 2, and that'll be with Peter Hinson again, the author of the book, and Deb Rubin. So, most people in the industry know Deb and Deb's passion for innovation and Deb's
Mhm.
passion for creating environments and workshops where people innovate. So with Devin, Peter, and the two of them leading and facilitating, the group will come together, work together in groups throughout the day in bringing tangible takeaways from what they worked on the day before and where they want to innovate with their companies. So that's the daytime event, as I call it, and the opportunity for our industry to we call it talk about the quiet parts. So the quiet parts are the things that we're thinking about, but we're not saying out loud.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So
No, it's going to be giving
that's
people that platform, and it seems like it's very hands-on and like an intimate, not intimidating setting, which is
yes.
good because the majority of conferences you go to, you're just like, I'm sitting in the back, I'm on my phone doing email, leave me alone.
Yes,
And it's definitely
exactly.
more hands-on.
That's exactly right. And I find myself doing that when I go to conferences at times, right? And this one, you won't have an opportunity. Several people told me last year they were exhausted because it was so much work. And they got, on the airplane or that night, in their hotel room, whatever, and they were, taking copious notes. And here's the things that they started thinking about. It stimulated a lot of thought. And when we were talking with people to be on the panel, there was one quality we wanted each person to have, and that was to be provocative. So every time I interviewed someone for the panel, I said, I want you to be provocative. Say the things that people don't want to hear. Say the things that make people uncomfortable because, like it or not, it's coming. Right. So let's talk about it.
We're all dealing with ish. It's just what level of it we're dealing with, and
Exactly.
how do we talk about it?
Exactly. So that's the intent behind the daytime events. And then we have our gala. So you know about the gala. You're one of the nominees for our awards.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, thank you.
All the things you do, which we can talk about in a minute. And so you and others have been nominated for what we think are really important awards in our industry. And we love what ELFA does and NIFA does, and they too acknowledge really important things and people in the industry. And so we added to that. So we said, what other things do we want to really give some recognition to? So we've got some really fun awards that we're giving out. We announced the nominees a few weeks ago, and we like to call this the Oscars of equipment finance. And it's really like that, though. I mean, we have a red carpet. We have really
Yeah.
beautiful trophies that people get. The venue itself is the National Constitution Center, which is a new museum in Philadelphia. It's all glass, like floor to ceiling, and you see Independence Hall literally out the window. Beautiful setting, and it's we have a welcome reception. We have a full course dinner, open bar throughout the night, and then we have presentations of each of the awards. We have presenters, just like the Oscars. We have presenters. We have walk-up music. It's fun. It's really fun, and it really is. People got such a kick out of it last year, and people get dressed up. It's suit
Sure.
and tie for the guys, and the women mostly are wearing nice dresses. Some of them even wore like gowns, and it was pretty fancy. So super exciting, and we love that part. We kind of all convene and come together to acknowledge each other, celebrate what we've done, in somewhat of a fancy gala-like atmosphere. So that part's super fun.
Yeah, I was blown away last year because like you don't know what you're expecting, right? I mean, you sit there and you say red carpet, and it's like, okay, who's the person that's going to show up in jeans? And there was no one, no
Right.
one, not even at all. I was like, I'm glad I wore a suit.
Right.
Like, I want to be the one guy underdressed.
I know. I know. Same here. I walked in. I was coming from the event during the day, so when I got there, a lot of people were already there, and I'm like, wow, they showed up. Yes, it was pretty
So,
cool.
so note to self: don't bother Lisa and team for at least a week. Once, what is that day? Is that the 18th? Is that the
Uh,
gala?
the 7th. It's the 15th and 16th. So it's a
15th, 16th. Okay, okay.
uh,
So just like maybe you go to a Phillies game just to
yes.
decompress a little bit, and then outside of that, you just like don't bother.
Yes, exactly. We didn't know how hard it was going to hit us last year. We were like, you know how that is. Any big event you plan, you're just like,
Sure.
oh yeah, you get knocked out for a bit. So yeah, good call. Good call, Jesse. I love it.
That's fantastic, and congrats again on last year, and excited for this year. Was watching the nominees come out in the award categories you have, and they're all over the place, which is fantastic because it's very diverse. It's not the same thing over and over again. which is great because typically in this industry you just see like the same exact people or topics over and over again. And it's refreshing when you sit there and it's like, well, who's that person? What do they do? And it kind of brings you in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well said. And that is what we're trying to do, bring some new names, into the industry, up into the forefront of what we do. There's so many great people. So you're exactly right.
So if I'm someone on the fence of attending Converge, Lisa, what are we saying to them?
Great question, Jesse. And I asked a few people in our industry to create some testimonial videos because, I did get a flood of emails and texts the next day and for the next week. I really did. And I didn't expect that. I really didn't. It was just like, oh,
Sure.
I wonder if people, how they thought about the event. And we got such great feedback that I called on a few people and said, do a testimonial because I want people who weren't there to come and see what it's all about this year. And several of them said, if you want to have 2 days to think about nothing else but the future and to have 2 days slated entirely for what am I doing? What am I creating? How do I want to face and confront what's around the corner and roll your sleeves up and do the work in some, dedicated space for that? This is the space to do it. So if you're on the fence to your question and there's things you want to create within your company, within your team, within the industry itself, if you've got some thoughts about it and you just don't have the time in your day to day. I mean, we're busy, everyone is busy. This is an opportunity to, quiet it all down, put everything along on the sides and get to work. So one of our taglines, if you go to we have a website called convergebymonitor.com. And the first, let's get to work. So that's what I would say. Roll your sleeves up and these are the 2 days to do it.
And if you want to go and your boss is saying no, send them to Lisa and she will make that a yes.
Yes, I love that too. I love that too. I do because so many people, like all I want to do is talk about it. And, being in the industry, like I said, for 30 something years, and I love this industry. This is one of the things I've been the most passionate about because I want us to be around a long time. And I want, to keep doing what we do and the difference we make out there when you think about what our companies provide, to be able to have our companies providing that forever and preparing ourselves for that. So yes, come to me, call me. Love to talk to you about it. Mhm.
Awesome. I want to switch gears if you don't mind.
Sure.
Let's talk about stripes if that's okay. Um, so what cohort just graduated and what cohort are we on? And any updates on stripes since we last spoke?
All things stripes. Yeah, we just graduated cohort 4 in
Okay.
February. We
Okay.
are on cohort 5. We have 99 people either have graduated or are in.
That's
So
awesome. How
right
do you
under.
how do you determine who's the 100th?
I know, right? Oh, right. Who's the first actually, I think I know who it is. That's a good point. First person to register for the next one. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
sure if maybe you have some competition where it's like first in the class gets to be number 100.
I
Yeah.
like that for the next cohort. That's a good one. I'll have to think about that.
All
That's
right. Sorry.
great. That's fun. That's fun. I like it. So, to your question, it's going really well. I mean, give or take 100 people, and I would say I don't know the count, but I'm going to guess 20-ish companies of those 100 people, maybe 25. As many a lot of companies put several people in over time, and
Sure.
what we're seeing is, just like we talked about last year when we talked about stripes, the opportunity for individuals in our industry who are really good at what they do. So I'm good at what I do, right? You're good at what you do. But do we know anything about being leaders? So what are the characteristics of inspiring people and motivating people? What are the characteristics of really leading a team for a company's vision or a leader's vision? And what does it look like to be that bold leader who innovates and who, fosters that kind of thinking? What is it like to be a leader truly that has an open heart? We focus quite a bit on open-hearted leadership because that's important today. It's important at any time, but you're working with people, and so many of us get put into these leadership roles because we're good at what we do, but then you're like, wow, I have like these 10 lives that are in my hand.
Ah!
They right, and it's real for them, right? And they're coming
Yeah.
at them, and they've got life going on, and they've got things they're dealing with. So Stripes really gives people the opportunity to see and learn and how to be. Like I literally use the word be a leader. The doing is pretty good. You can always work on that, and people get better and
Sure.
better at what you do. There's no top to that mountain either. We keep working on what you're doing, but who you're being, that's where we slow them down and say, okay, let's really, get to the bottom of that. And then, we hear from them. We just had our first alumni get together in March in Philadelphia, a bunch of people from different companies, and we
Yeah.
listened to them share. Yeah, it was really fun, and what it's like for them and what Stripes has provided for them in their leadership. And one of the things we added with the most recent cohort for the first time, Jesse, is we now have the managers of the participants very involved. So we had them involved initially where we get them on a call and we would talk about, what do they see for their employees or their team members. But now we have calls with them. So every 4 to 5 weeks, all the managers come together and they talk about what they're seeing, or they talk about things they want us to develop a little bit more with a particular person. They share stories. Yeah, that's gone really well. And then they learn from each other because you may have 12 managers on a call, 15 managers. And someone might say, oh, I'm dealing with this with my person. And then they'll share with each other. And then, we're providing our input as well. So that's gone really well, getting that kind of buy-in and on the court participation from the managers themselves. We love that part. So it's going really well, and we're continuing to build, continuing to grow. We're in the midst right now of reworking the programming a little bit, so stay tuned on that. We'll be announcing some new programs and new different ways to participate in Stripes, other than what we've been offering the last 2 years. We've got some new products, so we'll be launching them very soon.
That's exciting. And yeah, it's definitely in sales pretty much my entire career, where it's, you're an army of one. I mean, you're working for a common goal, but in theory, it's an army of one. Leave me alone. Let me do my job. And then it's like, wait a minute, I have other people I'm responsible for. Like, what?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. And even with sales, because you make a good point, we've had salespeople, we've had independent contributors in Stripes, and they come back and tell us the difference Stripes has made for them with their customers and their prospects.
Sure.
Because right, because we're doing a bit of a deep dive in Stripes. We're getting to know you, and then when they get to see any of the areas where they might have a blind spot, because we all have them, they're like, oh, that might be what's in the way of X, Y, or Z of a result, even, right? Like
Sure.
something they want to produce, they see themselves. And a lot of what we do is oriented around what we call breakthroughs. We kind of look at learning like it's linear. You just learn things, throughout life. And Stripes, we like to be a breakthrough. Like I just did a spike, if you know what I was doing, like a spike
The
in
aha, the aha.
there you go.
Light bulb.
That's good too. The light bulb, the aha. Right. And that moment of you're
Hey,
exactly right.
I'm good for a lot of useless quips. Okay, I can do whatever.
Because it is that moment of, oh, that's the blind spot. That's what's in the way. So even,
Sure.
like you said, even if it's an individual contributor, which we've had several, they see things too. So yeah, all those pieces make a difference. They do.
Perfect. I'm very curious to see who number 100 is. We might have to have Susie and that person on an episode or something. And
I like that. I like that. Let's make that happen.
you gotta celebrate the milestones, right? Right.
I know, it's so funny we hit at 99. I'm like, because I was having someone on my team add it up. I'm like, 99, great number. But yeah, who's
So I wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about a charity that's near and dear to your heart, Magic. How are things going? With the foundation there, Lisa?
Yeah, thanks for asking about Magic. And like you, with the logo behind you on the screen, the Equipment Finance Cares, and Magic's been benefactor of Equipment Finance Cares and participated in many of the events that you have. And Magic, the CEO of Magic and founder, is Steve Grosso, who many of you know from Auxilior. Steve, like myself, has been in the industry over 30 years as well. And Steve and his wife Sharon created Magic many years ago. I don't know the exact year, but they were very, very committed to children. It's a passion they both have. And the acronym, Magic's an acronym, and it's making a great investment in children. So they created it, Magic, for a few different initiatives that they feel are super important for kids, and it's health, it's mental health, it's nutrition, it's well-being, it's educational, it's advocacy. So with all these pieces, we have a bunch of board members, myself included, and we chair different initiatives of the overall what Magic's committed to, and we're out there, making it happen, and creating all kinds of programs, and making a difference for kids on so many levels. So I I chair the adoption and foster care committee because I have an adopted son, and so does Steve. So when Steve and I met, we had that in common. We had adopted kids, and he asked me to chair the committee. And one of the things I'm passionate about is educational advocacy, because it was super important for my son. So that's an example of a lot of the fundraising that we do goes to providing advocates for families that don't have the funds to bring an advocate to a meeting, bring an advocate to, for those of you who know what an IEP is, right? Bringing an advocate to make sure your kid gets what he or she needs. And we do, we have a lot of different drives, like I said, where we're providing food, pantries for children. We have a person who was formerly in the equipment finance industry. He heads up the legal committee. So we do all kinds of, legal work for kids and advocating for children. And, there's a lot of work out there to be done for kids. And every time we get an opportunity to participate in Equipment Finance Cares and some of the other things that we do, we have a golf outing every May. We have one coming up this year. We raise
That's,
money.
I was gonna ask the question. I was like, what's the date for that? So if people, is it the Monday after Converge?
Yes. Yes. So what's that, the 20th? It is May. I'm so head down in Converge. I don't even know. That's the 20th. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, this is funny. Yep.
Yep. So
Yep.
it's May 20th in Philadelphia. A lot of equipment finance companies are in the Philadelphia area. So you'll see some LinkedIn posts from me and Steve Grosso. We'll get them out there. And if you want to participate and have a lot of fun, and stay in Philadelphia for the weekend. It's right after Converge.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's right after that. So it's just Friday, Saturday. And if you're on the fence, then call Steve, and Steve will figure out a way to make you stay for the entire weekend.
Oh, he will definitely do that. If you get past me, you will not get past Steve. So yes, absolutely.
It's a gauntlet right there, but it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the acronym "Make a Great Investment in Children." That's extremely creative, but the passion that you, Steve, his wife Sharon, Marty, I mean, everyone that's involved within that charity, it's just keep up the great work there, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Jesse, and thanks for everything you do with Finance Cares and bringing all the leaders of the industry together who have these types of things that they're passionate about, and like you said, near and dear to their heart. And we all get to come together and learn things. Like, I didn't know half of the people who you've brought together, that they have these charities and initiatives that they're so important to them. So thank you for what you do. It's really powerful.
All we're doing collectively is providing the platform, and the people are doing the rest.
Yeah, platform makes a difference, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, Lisa. So I guess I need to ask you. I know we did a fun fact last year, but we need to get a new one this year. So,
what mine was last year. Oh, I should have watched, but I have one in mind. I just hope it wasn't last year's.
I want to say it was tied to the Phillies last year, maybe. I'm surprised you didn't mention Larry Boa.
Oh, see, I was just, I know. It's coming. It's coming.
Okay.
You're ready.
Okay.
You ready? Because this is fun.
I'm ready.
It's a really fun fact. So after we talked, I did end up meeting Larry Boa last August. So for those of you who don't know who he is, he was the shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies when I was growing up. So I'm a big baseball fan, and when you're a kid, you have your hero, and he was mine.
Sure.
Yep, exactly. And I gave it a whirl to play softball myself. I was the shortstop. So then as a kid, I thought, who's the shortstop for the Phillies? When I learned it was this guy named Larry Boa, he became, my hero growing up. And then in August, I got an opportunity to meet him in a very small setting. It was just me, Larry Boa, my dad, and the owner of the Phillies, his wife. That was it. Small group. We
Wow.
sat at a little round table and chatted it up about, Larry Bowe. And it was just so fun and great, and talked about the 1980 World Series. And we talked about how he grew up, and, just he was an underdog his whole life as a ball player. And
Sure.
then he since then he's had, 5 Golden Gloves, 3 All-Star games, and lots of records. So the fun fact is he will be at Converge.
Ah.
Going to be there. Yes. So the very end of the interview, not interview, it was a meeting with Larry back in August. We were getting up to leave, and I said, "Oh, I have one more thing." I said, "I have an event next year that is going to be in Philadelphia in May." I know. Yeah,
Of course you did. Of course you did. Of course
I
you
went there. I said, "Would you be the keynote for the event? Could I invite you to be there with us?" And he said, "Absolutely." He did. He said, "Sure. Just get me the dates. I'll make sure that there's not a conflict." Unfortunately, the Phillies are in town. Otherwise, if they were out of town, he might not have been here because he still works for the organization. So
did.
he'll be here. He's going to be at the lunch, and I get to interview him.
That's awesome.
I
Now,
know.
how was that conversation? I mean, did it happen right away, or was it like 4 months later, and he's just like, "Oh man."
Did I really say that? No, it happened pretty much right away, because if I
Uh,
catch a tail by a tiger, I'm not letting go.
no, that's what I'm saying though. It's like, all right, here's your contract. Sign it now, dude.
Exactly,
Now.
Jesse. I was all over it, and I was reaching out to the people I needed to at the Phillies, and then I was, getting him back, as far as all the pieces I need to uh, dot the i's,
just
cross.
just be careful in that audience there. You might be working for the Phillies soon.
Well, you never know. That's kind of funny. That is very, very true. We shall see. I have mentioned it to a lot of people that are, my age. Everybody knew Larry Baugh. Adam Warner, who I'm very excited about, is the Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And everyone knows Adam, one of the, best, most amazing leaders our industry ever had. And I know you know him personally as
Mhm.
well.
Yep.
What a fantastic man. And I told him about Larry Bowe, and he was so funny because I didn't know he was from Chicago, Adam. I just picture Adam as, Arizona or Denver. He said, "No,
Yeah.
I grew up in Chicago." He said, "And I watched the Phillies trounce on the Chicago Cubs all those years, the late 70s and the early 80s." And I said, "Oh, so you know exactly who Boa is."
Oh, God, it's amazing. People don't forget. Don't forget.
Oh, and a lot of it's a certain age when that your whole life is like whatever sport you're,
Sure.
right? And
Sure.
Adam and I were just completely connecting about the Cubs and the Phillies. So there'll be a lot of people in the audience that have a lot of passion around the Phillies, particularly in late 70s, early 80s. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, just adds another layer of excitement on. I mean, because it's a definitely an eclectic, I guess, program, right? Where it's
Yes.
something for everyone. Everyone can relate to certain things, which is good because it's hard to find something that can tailor to the masses. You know that you're always sitting there, and it's like put out a survey and you get like 95% thumbs up, but it's a 5% thumbs down. It's like, all right,
Uh,
you're not invited again.
yeah,
Go away.
exactly. Not
Go
for
away.
you.
No, not for you. Not for you. You don't get a survey next time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've had those surveys come back, and you're wrong. You're just wrong.
No,
Right.
no one asked you. Actually, you did. No, no, sorry.
It's funny, but it's a good word to use, eclectic, because we do want it to appeal to so many different people in the industry at different levels, and including, the Larry Boa piece, but all of it coming together. Yeah, it should be a pretty fun event with lots of, like you said, different pieces that'll be appealing to many.
Awesome, Lisa. Well, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. It's good to see your face.
You
When
too.
this airs, we'll have a little under 4 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be right
So
about the 4 week point. Yep. So
so
registration
look
be open and, you know, get yourself here to Philadelphia. You will not. I write this to everyone because I send emails out to my buddies, and if I haven't seen them registered yet, I'm like, hey, come on! I am guaranteeing you, and it is a guarantee. You will. It will not be disappointed. You will be glad you came.
She guarantees it. She's
There
a
you go.
she's a woman of her word.
Guarantee. You heard it. You heard it right from me.
Awesome, Lisa. Well, thanks for your time, and I look forward to catching up with you in Philadelphia next month.
Me too. Thank you so much, Jesse. Thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity. Take care.
Yep.